Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be talking about the Dream versus John Swan drama. Now I know I am a little late to the party, but I wasn't able to upload this when this all happened. But I thought it was still, a good time to just kind of give my opinion, just talk about the whole thing in general, because this is probably one of the oddest dramas to happen. So before we get into my opinion, I'm going to go ahead and give the short abridged version of the drama. And then we're just going to talk about, how it ended and what I think. So this all started when Dream found these fake accounts that were trying to pose as Dream. And they were saying some rather inappropriate things to the Dream's community. Dream talks about how, the person who was, posing as him was sending people, the N-word and other sexual, things that again aren't appropriate for somebody is in his position to do. And Dream was able to link everything back to the creator John Swan. John Swan then replied on Twitter saying that it was actually Dream who was trying to accuse him and ruin his credibility by pinning the blame on him. John Swan later came out and said that it was actually not him but a apparent 12-year-old family friend that was had access to his accounts and was doing all the stuff with the fake Dreams account and all that such. When this first happened, a lot of commentators were actually defending John Swan. John Swan, everyone's like, this is not really in John Swan's character. They were just kind of surprised to see this happen. And if you know John Swan's channel, you know that a lot of his videos depend on his credibility because he does these big documentary-esque videos. So being someone who is credible is very important to John Swan, and he cares very much about his credibility too. There were actually a lot of people that were defending John Swan and that were pretty much on John Swan's side until about 2 days ago, where everything just kind of turned. The tables turned, the script was flipped in, and we got the whole truth to the story. Turns out that John Swan was actually lying about everything that he was claiming. He wasn't hacked by some family friend that was a kid. He was the one who was doing all the stuff, saying all these things, posing as Dream. And now we know that Dream was the victim of this case here, and that Dream was not in the wrong, and it was John Swan the whole time. And it's just a big surprise, to be honest. And I'll get more into that in a second. John Swan actually, made an apology on Twitter. And again, I'm going to give the abridged version. He basically comes out saying that it was him all along. Everything he said was a lie, and that he, deeply regrets and apologizes for everything he's done to Dream and everybody who's been affected by it. He also apologizes to a lot of the, he pretty much apologizes to all the commentary channels and all the people that were talking, defending Dream. He mentions some names, specifically like Bo Blacks and Optimus, and then he says that he's pretty much lied directly to their faces. That is actually what he says in his tweet. And he again says that there's no excuse for his actions and that he shouldn't have done what he did and all that jazz. So like I said before, this was a very odd situation. The way that this ended was just incredibly unexpected. Nobody really expected for John Swan to come out with this big statement saying that he lied about everything, because in reality there were a lot of people that were actually on his side defending him. And now that all the pieces on the puzzle are put together, it's crazy because we were believing these lies. And it was just very convincing because, again, everything they told us was a lie. So before the statement from John Swan came out, we were not only believing him and a lot of people were on his side, but we were just believing lies. He was very convincing, and pretty much the big majority were on his side, like I said. But then John Swan just kind of shoots himself in the foot for some reason and just kind of comes out and says, oh yeah, I lied. I'm in the wrong, and I need to apologize and end this now. And again, the crazy thing too was that John Swan was the one who really started this whole drama. And the way this could have played out, this could have affected one or the other's career. And now it's probably affected John Swan's career because now his credibility is just thrown out the window because we now know that he lied about everything. The fact that he just came out and made this whole thing a big problem was so stupid. He's pretty much telling on himself at this point. Because again, he wasn't the one, Dream wasn't, the one who really called anything out. He wasn't the one who made this whole, he's like, oh, you guys, John Swan's being mean to me, we gotta stop him or something like that. It was John Swan who brought this to attention, got this on Twitter, people were following it and, talking about it, and then Dream was, had no choice but to respond to the situation. But again, why would you want to make a problem when you know that you are the problem and that you are in the wrong? If the script was flipped again, let's say this is all true and that Dream was the one who was saying all these things and, putting the blame on John Swan. This is something that I could see, being put out there because again, this is John Swan's credibility is being, it's jeopardized because of Dream what he said. But again, it's not true because everything that John Swan said was a lie, and he was the whole cause of the problem. And if John Swan was innocent, I could see why why he would tweet something like this, why he would make this whole thing, bigger than it should have, I guess. And he's affected so many people because of this. First off, he could have affected Dream's career heavily, but these really serious, allegations, about how he's saying all these sexual things to, and these these inappropriate things to his fans. And now we know that's all fake, and it was because of him. But he put the commentary community in a really crappy spot, especially because so many people in the commentary community were adamantly defending John Swan, and that they were all, John Swan, might be in the right here, and they were all kind of defending him. He was literally talking directly to a couple of commentary channels people like Optimus and Boblax, like I said, defended him and were pretty much on his side. And now all the channels that were defending John Swan now look like fools because they were defending a complete, utter liar. And I wouldn't be surprised if these commentary channels, would, take down the videos of them basically defending John Swan. I know that Optimus actually took down the video that he was, his first video on the whole drama, and how, because he talked about how, he was pretty much, I was like, oh, I think John Swan, I know this guy, and he was like, I don't see that, being something in his character. And he took that down because, again, he was defending John Swan. But now he looks like, when people look at that, he's like, oh, how could you defend this liar? And obviously you didn't know at the time, but, they can look back and be like, how could you defend somebody who blatantly lied about everything he said? And again, go back to John Swan's credibility. That's just fucking out the window, dude. That's gone, dude. Especially when, you're somebody like him who, does these big in-depth videos, documentaries on people and on things. It's hard to come back from when, there's this whole situation that you fabricated a whole entire, story of lies just so you weren't, in the wrong. But it is a good thing that this all came out into the air. We now have a full conclusive ending to this whole drama. We know that Dream, is the victim. He was the one who was, he was in the right. John Swan was the whole problem and the cause of the problem as well. And again, the way that the situation was going, and if it got even worse, and there was more things coming out, and there was more things, that we need to talk about, Dream could have been looking at and he could have been in a pretty tough spot, to be honest. Especially when you had a vast majority of the commentary community, the people who really talk about this stuff and get this stuff publicized, are on the side of John Swan, who at the time is, again, we had no, if this whole thing kept spiraling out of control, and we're all this, we're like, John Swan, what all of you said, everything he said was, truth, and we still believed him, this could have been bad news for Dream. Now, would it have been career ending for Dream? It's hard to say. I feel like there are so many Dream stans out there that they would just, keep following him and keep supporting him no matter what. But I feel like there would be a big chunk of people that would have probably stopped supporting Dream and stopped, watching his videos, unsubscribe and stuff like that, if this was, if this kept going and kept spiraling the way it could have. But I'm just glad that this all ended, and it just stopped. Because again, this could have gotten really serious and really bad really fast. But I'm going to go ahead and end the video off here. So John Swan, I mean, how fucking stupid do you have to be to shoot yourself in the foot like this? You made this whole thing a problem. You're the cause of the problem. And in the end, you were the fucking, you were the you were the culprit. You're the one who was responsible for everything that happened. I don't understand what the point was. Again, like I said, if you didn't really bring light to this situation, nothing, none of this would have happened to you. None of this could have, none of this would have happened. Nobody would have even noticed what was going on. But you probably thought this was a good idea to get yourself some clout and, use Dream's name to your advantage to get more people to follow you and all that shit. But anyway, thanks for watching. That's the whole end of this. Subscribe and all that jazz. Follow me on Twitch and do all that stuff as well. Goodbye.